I just, yeah. Um,
Cool.
yeah, so I guess we'll get started then. So first of
Yeah.
all, thank you so much for being here today. I'm very excited to be doing this interview. So lovely to meet you, by the way, Bonnie.
Yeah, so nice to meet you. Thanks so much for letting me talk to you.
Of course. So first, I actually want to start with your last project you guys did back in 2020, Under the Spell of Joy, and that was amazing. That being putting out music in 2020, I always said people who did, thank you for that time, and also I just think that music was just so powerful, everything, and so especially with this project, I noticed the themes of power of manifestation and cosmic intervention. And I just wanted to know, how did those principles make an appearance in your life, the band's life at that time?
Yeah, well, I think for I mean it's we've learned I mean everyone hopefully has learned so much in the last every year should be exponential growth and learning anyways, but for Under the Spell of Joy, we were just getting enlightened to this idea that words have power, and we thought that if you said words enough, like chanting, that would be a way to manifest stuff and a way to make change, and that if we sang these songs every night and people sang along with us, that could create some real change. Unfortunately, of course, as we all know now, that we didn't get the chance to sing those every day, but they became kind of part of, like, once you make a record, that is in your mind and in your head all the time. So I think having a record that was forcing joy was pretty lucky at that time. And I think particularly also because there was something horrible happening every day. And so just like visceral, and it wasn't like just happening to one person, it was happening to the entire world. And and what was happening here in this country is unbelievable. I can't believe it, but just it didn't seem like it was fair to have joy, fair to have any other feeling aside from anger. And I think that while I think that that's true, I think it also was good to find little bits of joy, find little bits of whatever it was, just enjoy nature. We had like a kids chorus sing on that, and just like hope that the kids are getting better, things are getting better for them, even if it seems like everything is and actually was completely horrible. But I think it did force a lot of people to open up their eyes and see things that they had been denying. So in a way, I think swung the pendulum all the way to the bad side, and I think it's coming back in a lot of ways to the other side.
I totally agree with that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think we're up for the mend. I think, as you mentioned, you said something very poignant to me, that there's like this anger, and it wasn't like, are we allowed to feel this joy? And I think it's good that there was moments of joy and peace, because that anger can consume you. And as much as I think it was a good head to come out, just those little brief moments really kind of help bring us back without destroying ourselves with all that energy, that negative energy.
Yeah, well, it did seem to me like the people that were already mad, sad, and disappointed just became more mad, sad, and disappointed. And that felt unfair to be happy while that was happening. But it did also turn people that were not paying attention to start paying attention. And I think that is good, like that was a positive. It didn't feel good, but and there was just so much fighting. But when I look at it, although those with hate sort of continue to have hate, those that were on the fence, I think, like, didn't choose hate. I think they were like, whoa, what's going on here? Not entirely, but I think I saw a lot of that. And even in myself, I feel like I really learned a lot, and realized that there was a lot a lot at stake with what we say and how we act and how we talk to ourselves, and that affects how we talk to each other and all that stuff.
Exactly. So, this is probably in line with the first question itself, but for this album, that album, with what was going on in the world at the time, what did those events influence any creative choices or the music content within that album that maybe last minute changes at all?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it sounds a little bit funny, but because of that, feeling of it, of not feeling like we were entitled to be anything but mad or sad, or fighting or whatever. And I think that that's true on one hand, but on the other hand, uh, it does seem, it seemed like in our personal lives that we had, um, not really loved ourselves and not really taken care of ourselves and not thought about ourselves, and kind of, all of the trauma that happened, whether or not people are going to call it that, it was traumatic. And I think personally for me, I have lived with so much trauma and shame and guilt. And when we wrote this record, we wanted to write a record for our future selves to not live in that cycle of trauma, guilt, shame, and just, hope, and just basically write a love letter to our future incarnations, and just be like, hey, don't treat yourself well. If you treat yourself well, you'll treat others well, and that'll have, you know, exponential effect. But what's weird is actually having done that for our future selves sort of like cleared a lot of those sentences you say to yourself that you don't even know where they come from, or maybe you do, but it really, writing that record like for our future actually really helped it, this present self. And I really wasn't expecting that. That was really shocking to me. Just those sentences of, you're not good enough, you're not this enough, like you're small, you're always going to be small, it doesn't matter what, all that stuff, somehow making this record made me like lose those sentences and be like, that's not true. Who said that? That's not true. Like, no one, that's not true. No one thinks that of you. No one thinks you're weak. Like, that's just the story you've been always given. And you don't need to take it anymore. You don't need to carry it with you. So that was kind of like the idea in the beginning. Yeah, just to write ourselves sort of like a rule book for how to treat ourselves later.
Like a little wow, the word just dropped from my brain, but the time capsule, I would say. A little
Yeah, totally. Something like that. And we did put little clues all over it so that our future selves would find it. Because that was a fear. Like, how are we going to know to listen to some rock and roll from whenever? But we put little tips and little clues and little things, all around it, that hopefully, no matter who we are, wherever we are, we'll find it.
So then that brings me to my next question, which is, how was the approach to that creative process differ from what you would say you released recently?
Well, this time it was completely focused on the message, and we didn't even, honestly, it's funny, but I didn't think at all about what it was going to sound like. It was just pure channeling. We went to the forest and we just channeled, and just kind of, Ricky, the drummer, and I, we have like a, you hear it all the time, but you just have, when you have a psychic communication with someone, especially in music, it's just like, we don't talk, she just plays a beat, and whatever's meant to come comes. And we kind of both believe that all the songs ever are already out there. It's just up to us to find them. So we kind of get in a, like, not meditative, but sort of like a trance like state, uh and channel is really what I believe it is. So we just kind of channeled it all, and and I'm shocked to remember after doing it all that what it sounds like is what matters most to the listener, not, but to me, that's the part that feels the best, is just finding, it's almost like a puzzle piece in the sky, and just pulling it down, and we would look at each other and be like,
Yeah.
that's it. And then getting, the rest of the band, Larry and Sammy and Gabe and Greg to come on, and just they, it's pretty much improvised, the music, so we have like a general idea of what sort of the idea of the song is going to be, but it's pretty much improvised in the studio. So it is definitely a weird process, and the guy that records this is like, yeah, you guys are weird, no one does it this way. Like there's really no talking in the studio, and it's just like first 1 or 2 takes for each song, and that's it. And it's just it's weird, but it's really cool. And I don't know if we would be able to do it another way, honestly.
It's amazing. It makes me think of just, sports teams. Like some teams just have that chemistry and symmetry together. They go on I'm gonna use basketball. They go on a court
Yeah,
and they just go. That's
yeah. Did you see The Last Dance?
oh my gosh, I feel like I saw it years ago.
Okay, you should rewatch it, or not should, but it's like incredible. It's just it's basketball, and it's just like it when it leaves, it's like the ball knows when it's leaving the finger, like just the edge of the fingertip, it goes directly into the next hand, and it's just like magic. It's a like if you took the ball away, it would be like a beautiful dance. And I feel like, yeah, that's what we're kind of just like. If you took our instruments away, we would look pretty funny, but I think you would still kind of get what we're doing.
So then, I think what also makes it really interesting in your guys' music is there's just like a beautiful, delicate strike and balance of, absurdity but profoundness with your lyrics. Like it's amazing. I love lyrics, and I just think they're so powerful, and that's like one of my favorite parts about listening to music. So
Oh,
I just
cool.
find that amazing for you guys, and I just want to know, how do you maintain that equilibrium, and how does it not dilute your impact or intention in your music?
I mean, that's a really good question. I have no idea, because I'm pretty shy and pretty self-conscious, uh and a lot of other things, but I write all the lyrics for all of the songs on the day that we sing it, so that no one can see it or judge it. And like, um, but at the same time, just because I feel like I'm just finding it in the cosmos, it doesn't feel personal. It feels like I'm just finding the exact right words. I will admit there's a few songs, especially in the past, that were just me writing, and it's like it's embarrassing, some of it. So I'm not like 100% proud of all of my lyrics, but when they just like flow in the way that they did for the last 2 records, where it was like maybe a sentence here or there I would fill in, but for the most part it comes whole. I don't know why, but that's what it does. And I think if I thought about it too much, it would start to get really stupid.
That's so cool. I don't know. I just think it's amazing to hear that. It's quite fascinating. Um, sorry, I hear loud music. It's from outside my place.
Where are you?
I'm in the middle of Central California.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. That's so cool.
Stop now. That was random. I think someone was driving by. Everything kid. I was like, whoa, that was loud. Oh, they're starting again. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Oh, well. I don't think it might not get in the recording. I'll edit around all this stuff. Sorry about that. To
Oh,
me.
no, it's okay.
Um,
I live next to a freeway, so I'm like, I can't even hear
okay.
it.
I was like all the times, but alrighty. So then that leads me to my next question. So for the new album that you guys released, Islands in the Sky, it's an exploration, very experimental in several music subcategories, classic garage rock. I thought I heard some gospel influence in there. How did that process come about? Was there any genres wanted to explore, but you had to leave out?
Well, that's also a really good question. I think it just, again, like we didn't really focus. Usually we'll be like, we need some bangers, or we need this, or we need that, but we don't pay attention to the actual music that much. This was just uh this, we didn't have any intention with any of that. I mean, there's a bunch that didn't make the record, of course, but like for the most part, this was just following where the melodies or where the words, whatever came first, took us. And yeah, and just I think it just has more to do with our background musically than anything else, and that's why it got channeled in the way that it did. But yeah, I think there was no rules and there was no not rules, you know. But it's definitely like I think the improvisation of it is what I think you can hear a lot. Like none of the sax, synth, keyboard, organ, vocals, harmonies, guitar parts um, were written before they were recorded. So I think it's more just like, yeah, just being this channel for this music rather than like, and I think it's super cool if some people have a style and they're really, really good at it. And it's intentional, but I love the sound of like freedom and something not ever being practiced, and that spontaneity. It's scary, it's terrifying to get in there and be like, all right, is it gonna happen? But that's kind of how we do it, and only 2 times have we ever gone to the studio and it's like, ooh, I don't have anything, I can't feel it today, sorry guys. But yeah.
Wow, that's really good. It's really cool. So then I have, would you say that there's the motif, using the 1960s rock sound? Is there an intentional commentary or even a critique on modern society that you present in your music?
That's also a good question. um, I'm not really sure how to answer that. I think I could only say that like my love is in like early my passion my passion is in early American roots, like music, and that comes from Africa and everywhere else. And like I think I went to school for jazz, and I am obsessed with the blues and like gospel and all that stuff. And I think um definitely paying like homage to the people that we love who were paying homage to those people. It's just like, to me, like Bo Diddley and is like God, and like Billie Holiday is God, um just gospel stuff is there. It's to me that's like religion. And Greg Foreman, who played organ and Wurlitzer on the record, I met, he was playing organ in a church, and just like with, just like that's just something that I think I'm so used to for my ear. That's what I like. So I think that more of anything is just that's what we love. And and like if it's like, oh, we love the Stones, it's like, well, the Stones, they love, like Wilson Pickett or whoever it was that everyone was listening to. It's just kind of like, we don't, I think it's silly when people are like into bands from now but they don't know their influences. So I think that's one thing. It's important to know your influences, and I think that uh that's what I guess is obvious with us. Like, oh, we know, like we don't just love like whatever, we love what made them who they are. And definitely we don't try and rip anybody off, but you're not trying to like do anything, but it's more of a feel that certain things have and certain things don't. And that's sort of, I guess that's what's most important, is how does it feel.
I think so. It comes all down to what we feel, honestly.
Yeah.
So I think you touched on this slightly, so I'm wondering it might be the same answer, but is there a particular is it process when you guys are selecting like which singles to release and picking which songs to make that album, or is it kind of just what's in that moment, how you're feeling, what's gonna make this cohesive or such?
Yeah, well, I think that's a cool question, because it's like we think of the whole thing as an album, even though that's like not real anymore. That's not how people listen to it, but it seems like you were to put out a movie, you put it out in order. It's like or like a TV show, you put it out in the order. And to me, and all of us, is like a record is a record, an album is an album. It's really important that the songs flow together and goes up and up and up, and then all of a sudden it just leaves you and you're lost, and then all of a sudden you take a breath and you're finally on like the second side, all that stuff. And I think it's not lost on us that that's not the way people listen to it anymore, but we can't really change it. I will say, like, choosing the first song was a little bit scary, because that people are just going to listen to that on the playlist, and it's like that's probably the biggest deal, but we still couldn't like fake it. We had to put what the first song is, and then choosing which ones come out. I don't know if we did it in the right order or anything. I don't really know what you're supposed to do, but we all like put a bunch of songs in basically in a hat, and all pulled out the same ones. And we would listen to like our record label, Super Smart David, and what his ideas were, and we're like, oh, that sounds right. You know best. Like, but I think, yeah, I like the order it came out in it, but that's probably the only part that you can really, like, you have a lot of, I don't know, that can like go wrong or something. Everything else just is what it is, but the order can like mess everything up.
But also I think it's just all about the intention, and just I think when the deliberate, whichever way you put it out, there's still a story that's there, and someone's going to connect to that at the end of the day. So
Yeah, I hope so.
as you said, people don't listen to albums anymore. They like to shuffle, or they listen to one particular song. I still love going in order, because there's just something special about going in order and hearing it from start to finish. I love it. I always do that. So
Yay. Good. Yeah, it's like a dream. Like, you just follow the dream.
yeah, follow the journey, follow the road.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's like, what are they trying to say here? Like, they're trying to say something,
Exactly. And so after the release of the album, you guys released actually another single, Feel the Colors. I was wondering, was it made around the same time? And did you just think it would have fit the album, or was it meant to stand by itself?
Yeah, that's so weird. That's so cool that anyone heard that. That's actually totally separate. Is this really cool podcast called Pod Songs. There's the poodle. Hi.
So,
Hi. Say hi.
hello, so
You're okay. Sit down. It's okay. You're okay. Yeah, that is a podcast called Pod Songs, and I'll put you down. Sorry. Sorry. They that started like 2 years ago. That was way before anything. It was completely random that it came out at the same time. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it was really cool. I got to talk to this guy. It's like a musician interviews usually like a science related person or a philosopher, some such thing. And I got to interview this guy, Neil Harbison, who's a cyborg. And and I think he was born without, I don't know what it's called when you are colorblind. I can't remember, but I think there's probably a more modern term. And so he created this attachment that he had surgically implanted in his head, where he can, because color is frequency, so you can hear it. So when he sees red, or he doesn't see it, but when he views red, it has a certain frequency and he can hear it. So you sound like, every color sounds like something. And so I interviewed him, and it was really interesting is he's I didn't know where I stood on this topic, at all. It wasn't something I had thought much about, like cyborgs or anything. But it's interesting because he's like on the forefront of kind of people deciding who they are and what's essential for their body. which I think is interesting, just as far as like trans rights and everything else. It's just like, I just realized like, wow, he's like the head of some society for trans species something. And it's just really interesting to think like, whether or not it seems like, I guess even in the Olympics or wherever it is where people are, modifying their body, what rights should people have and what rights should the government have, I think is, really a big question, since it's, whatever. And I think it's awesome that he's like, whether or not what he's doing is the most extreme you can do by possibly doing dangerous surgeries. I think that and his has been there for like 20 or 30 years. He's totally safe, but I think it was really interesting to me to think about, yeah, why does the government have rights on what you think you need to be you? And so that was really cool. So I don't that just randomly came out at the same time, but I would check out that podcast Pod Songs for other ones. And yeah, it's really interesting. Blew my mind.
I'm like was enthralled. Like that's really interesting. Like to learn all this. Wow.
Yeah, it's just so weird. I didn't realize like the implication. I kind of thought, I think I had been more judgmental of of what is like elective versus, and this was in the middle of COVID, so I was like, what is going on here? Like people are not well, but then I realized it's not elective. Some of these things, it's essential, it's life-saving, or if it's just life improving, like why is it the government's business? And he lives in, I think, England, so I don't really know, but yeah, it's really interesting. He's really, it's an interesting thing that I had no idea about. But yeah.
That's really cool though.
Yeah.
So we noticed the cover art is a painting by a famous visionary artist, Gilbert Williams. Was there a reason you chose that specific album cover?
Yeah, it's so weird. Is we like, when we first thought of what the album cover would be, we kind of drew something like that without ever seeing that before. And then we went in the process of like finding someone and showing them this really stupid drawing of like this island in the middle of the sky, and just it's gonna look something like this, and then on the back it will have little islands all over. And during that process, somehow I think we're on someone's Instagram and we're like, oh my God, this already exists. Like, this is so crazy. I can't believe the art already exists. Like, we should contact him and like buy it or whatever. And then we found out, we got the information for his daughter who runs his estate, and her name is Crystal River. And they gave us permission to use it, and which is insane because it's more than we could have ever hoped for. And it's just really funny now to have like the original, like, doodle next to like this gorgeous, beautiful thing. And it's also called Moon Temple, which is just really cool. Like, my respect for the moon grows more and more every day.
What an honor. Uh,
Yeah.
so this summer, the first half of your guys' tour is kicking off. What's the exciting part of touring for the band, and are there any surprises that fans should expect when they see you guys live this summer?
Yeah. We're definitely going to start playing. We've been playing a few new songs from the record, but we're definitely going to play more, just because we're so excited now. But I think that something different is happening with everyone. I don't know if it's that everyone was so secluded, or maybe it's us, I'm not sure, but like at our shows, it's not, it went from people standing there or like thrashing to like people like being excited and feeling seen and heard and like feeling a part of it. And and knowing that they're a part of it, and like the gratitude we have and the gratitude they have is like palpable, and can't wait to get to see everyone and, you know, share these messages that like totally changed our lives, you know. So, which is so funny and weird, but like um it really did. And it's, you know, so many people trying out, not even trying out, but just being themselves for the first time, being like locked up, you know, alone, and then now coming out and being proud of themselves, being proud of who they are, wanting to celebrate and wanting to be together and wanting to be part of something. It's just like there's nothing better than the last few months of tour. I cannot wait to go back again and see everybody.
That's so exciting. And the industry, it's a risky business, and but the band keeps pushing forward, so how do you guys find that to keep pushing forward, and especially as you're going out and touring more and more frequently?
I mean, yeah, it's a weird job for sure. Like it's not um it's a very we're entertainers, you know. It's like you it's it's a very strange job, but it's a lot kind of um like a I mean, it sounds so stupid, but it really is like a spiritual mission. Like we go around like conveying this message. We like have to be very strict with what we eat and how we take care of ourselves, and it's sort of like a meditative sort of thing, and you get so little sleep. Like you wake up super early, you go to bed super late, like um you have to want for nothing. You have to completely like adjust to the road does not adjust to you. So it's just being very grateful. Like it's very humbling, and it's very taxing. So it's not, it's, you know, it's not for everyone, but we figured out a way to do it, and mainly in just remember, you know, just to stay really present. I think that's not even in like a cool way, like, or like, but in just like you can't worry about the future. There's no such thing as the future. There's absolutely no such thing as the past. All there is like, you know, keeping your energy sacred and giving it when it's needed, and then going to sleep so you can get more the next day. You know.
Yeah. And we're down to our final two questions, and
Okay.
this has been great so far. I've been loving
Yeah.
everything. Um,
Thank you so much.
yeah. We're seeing a lot of talk in the industry, in regards to touring, about discussions about venues, deserving percentage of performers' merch sales. When we know that's a big chunk of your guys's wages. What is your position on that?
I mean, I can't possibly imagine why that they would want that. Um, I mean, I don't remember who said, but someone's like, well, we should get a percentage of your alcohol sales. Like, that doesn't really, why would you get our merch sales? Like,
Yeah.
uh, that's what keeps us on the road. But yeah, I mean, you know, nowhere is it fully just or fair or anything. But the music industry seems to be just getting worse, honestly. You know, like it just in some ways, and I hope it gets better. I hope it, you know, becomes like other things. Like for an actress on Netflix, they're not like, you don't get paid now. You get paid if like 1 million people watch your show. Then I'll give you some money. I mean, it's crazy, but yeah, the live show is where you make it, um and it's mainly just to keep it up so that you can keep touring. It's not like to get a Ferrari or something. It's just
Yeah.
like to
I
be able to keep touring.
I keep in tune with both entertainment industries. I'm a writer, so I'm keen.
Oh, cool. Yeah, obviously, sorry.
Oh, no, no, no. And I've noticed that, as you mentioned, Netflix, there potentially is going to be a WGA strike. And I mean,
Yeah,
it's necessary, I feel like, until they
yeah,
respect these artists like you and me, others. So, yeah.
yeah. It doesn't, it's, I guess it's just and it's not this way in other countries. That's what's so strange, is that when we go to Europe and other places, like they pay us to go there. They give grants to like everyone because they care about their culture and their country. And so getting paid not that much isn't like that big of a deal, because you can depend on, we were with a band in France for like 4 days, and they were from Canada, and Canada was paying them a lot of money to go to France. And we were like, what? You get, your country pays you to do music? And they're like, yeah, that's how we survive. And I'm like, wow, that's incredible. Like, I don't know I really don't know how or if it'll get better. I'm just, honestly, when we started this, all I wanted to do was tour. And I have to just be so thankful that that's what's happening,
Well, there's still people who will do whatever they can to support you guys and see you still. It doesn't matter. And hopefully maintain that you guys can keep touring.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so.
And lastly, we just want to know, I know this era just started for you guys, but is there any new direction in your music that you can, tease us with, hint to fans that you'd like to explore later on?
Yeah, well, I haven't said this before, but I'll tell you because I think it's funny, is we had an idea at the end of tour that I think we're going to try and start writing and recording it at the end of the month in the cabin in the forest. Is so since a lot of the time you dream primarily about what you do all day, and a lot of the time we'll like us have dreams that we're either playing a show or practicing, and I've sort of trained myself to be able to wake up and like record either into voice memos or write something down. So we're gonna try and make like an EP, just like, I don't know, 4 or 5 songs of just the songs from dreams, no matter how bad they are, no matter how dumb they are, no matter, even if it's like it is an actual song that exists, we're just gonna, just for fun, have a dream album that's just the songs from our dreams. And then, so that I'm pretty, that I have no idea what's gonna happen, but I recorded something last night where I was like, oh my God, like, because in the dream you're like, this is the best song ever. And then I listened to it this morning, I was like, oh, that's so bad, but I can't wait to work on it. And then we're gonna do a lot of like collaborating with people, just because that was one of the most fun things, or that was a truly great thing that happened during COVID, is just getting to collaborate with people. And we have a lot of surprises up that avenue, or in that avenue. What do you say?
I think either works. The avenue, somewhere around
something about the avenue is gonna happen. But yeah,
that's exciting.
yeah,
It's great to hear. It's amazing. So Bonnie, we thank you so much for sitting down with mxdwn. It's been wonderful having you today, and thank you for taking your time out to speak with me today.
yeah, thank you so much for talking to me. I'm so happy to meet you.
So lovely to meet you. Others have seen their highs, from interacting with before, Roy. So it's so exciting. So thank you so much.
Cool. Well, have the best rest of your week.
You too. Bye.
Okay. Bye.